If your dating life sucks and is dry and it genuinely lacks any excitement or you don't have any options, the major reason for that is because you're not living in accordance to a very simple spiritual law that governs all of dating and social dynamics. And that law is what we call the law of momentum. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you were talking to a girl and while you were talking to that girl, everything was going well? Everything was going fine. In fact, everything was going splendid. It's a girl that you genuinely found attractive. You were proud to be seen with her in public, as I like to say from time to time. This is a girl that you genuinely found interesting and exciting. And while you were dealing with this girl, while everything was going so well, it also felt like at the same time, outside of that girl, every other woman on the planet found you attractive. I'm talking about girls you used to talk to that fell off, were starting to come back into your life, random text messages from everywhere, girls sliding into your DMs, maybe for the first time in your life, girls walking past you on the street smiling at you, hell, even old grandmas being very concerned about you and nice to you all of a sudden. Have you ever experienced that, right? That feeling of it just felt like every woman on the planet you can get if you really wanted to, right? Well, I'm sure you've heard about the concept of the abundance mindset, right? There's something to that. There's something to when one woman finds you attractive or when a group of women find you attractive, it's easier for other women to find you attractive as well because you carry that presence of being an attractive man with you everywhere, and that creates a bit of preselection. Preselection being the idea that when women notice that you are attractive to other women, they too tend to be attracted to you, right? So women are reactionary creatures, they're hive-minded creatures. When they know that other women find you attractive, they too tend to become attracted to you as well, or at the very least, curious, right? That's the whole point of preselection. So if you've ever dealt with a woman and things were going amazingly well, you've probably experienced some degree of preselection that kind of rubbed off from you on other women, right? Now, let's go back to the same example. Same girl, same amazing experience with her, beautiful, gorgeous, attractive, whatever. And then let's say for whatever reason, you go 2-3 days without hearing from her. She doesn't reply your text, or she says or does something that indicates some degree of disinterest in you. What does that usually do? Or what did that do for your confidence when that was happening? Low key, and you can be completely honest with it, you can, be truthful here. There's a good chance that your confidence fell, that you began to feel not as confident, not as good about the whole thing. And it almost felt like all those women that were very interested in you before just lost interest somehow. They began to all move away or distance themselves from you or stop replying to your texts or just they're not smiling at you on the street anymore, all that kind of stuff. Have you ever experienced that up and down, that ebb and flow in dating women and social dynamics? Right. I think we all have on some level, on some degree, we definitely all have. Hell, when I started out in dating, right, all I wanted was one girlfriend. I think that's how every man starts out, learning all the things about dating and social dynamics. You start out thinking, okay, I just want one girlfriend. If all I get from this, dating and game and pickup thing is one girlfriend, I've done well, you tell yourself. And I went on like this for months. I want to say up to a good year maybe, before I ran into a piece of information that genuinely changed the course of my life forever. Because you see, we all start out wanting the one girlfriend, but then we begin to learn more about women in general and female nature, and then we begin to understand the concepts I talked about before, which is understanding how an abundance mindset affects how women treat you, understanding how preselection works and how competition anxiety works, and the fact that women, for whatever reason, find you more attractive when they know that other women find you attractive, and how that continues even into a serious consequential relationship with them. Right? So about a year, maybe a little over a year into learning about game and social dynamics, it became very clear to me, and this was frankly heartbreaking for me to discover at the time. Now I think of it as a blessing, but at the time it was a heartbreaking piece of information for me to find out that the way to get one girlfriend is to almost overshoot and try to get more than one, right? Up until you actually get your girlfriend, the truth is you're kind of moving with this singular focus type of mind. You're thinking to yourself, okay, there's this one girl I like. There's this particular girl or kind of girl that I find very attractive. This is the kind of girl that I want in my life. I'm going to take all this game knowledge, right? Pick up social dynamics, neurolinguistic programming, whatever, and I'm going to try and focus all that energy on that one girl, right? And maybe for you, it works. Maybe it doesn't. In my case, it actually did work, right? I actually put it towards this particular girl I found very attractive, and it definitely worked. But then here's a problem. You find out that once you use all that effort and energy into trying to get that girl, you kind of have to keep that going. You can't really get one girlfriend and then just kind of leave it like that. That idea is not real. That doesn't exist. In reality, if you want one girlfriend, you have to generate abundance. You have to become attractive to more than one girlfriend. This world where you can only put singular focus into one girl to get her doesn't really exist. If you are going to become attractive to one girl, that is essentially you trying to be attractive to multiple women. You're either attracted to most of them or none of them. That's kind of how it works. Okay? There's no world where you'll only ever be attracted to just one woman and only one woman will find you attractive. Like, no, that's not real. It's not real at all. And honestly, for the sake of women, it's a good thing that that's not real either. Because again, they're hive-minded, groupthink kind of creatures. They're reactionary. So a big part of how they know how attractive you are is that they get the cosign from other women. Remember, we were just talking about preselection, right? So you have to keep having abundance. There's no way around that. There really isn't any way around that. And again, at the time, it was devastating for me to find out, but now I see it as a blessing. It's a good thing that it's that way because it keeps you on your toes. And if you know how to work it right, you can keep her on her toes as well. That way you can keep being attractive to each other long term. But that begs the question. If this is the case and you have to have abundance at all times, then how does one actually create abundance? What does that look like? What does it actually look like to have options with multiple women to begin with, especially if you're starting out from zero? Well, that's where the law of momentum comes in. And you see, the reason most men in the world today don't have any abundance with women is because they do not know how to live in accordance to the law of momentum. Momentum and the correct application of it is what creates more abundance with women in your life. And it always looks like this, right? This is how to apply the law of momentum, correct? When you're talking to a girl that you find genuinely attractive, that you genuinely see as a girl that you find exciting, that you want to be seen with in public, that you are in general excited by, right? This is a girl that you think things are going well with, all that good jazz. Don't make the mistake of keeping all of your focus on just her. That is a mistake I have seen so many men make over and over and over and over again. And they continue to make that mistake precisely because they think that is the way you should be going. You should go about getting a girlfriend. The same way I did when I first started out. I thought, oh, okay, cool. I found a girl I like. I'm just going to put all my effort and focus on her. But you see, that's actually not the correct way to go about it. The correct way to go about it is the counterintuitive way. Because if you do nothing but put all your energy and focus on the one girl, not only are you less likely to get her in general, but if you do get her, right? If you actually successfully get her, then you put yourself in a numbing situation where you become her slave. Where it's no longer about how much value you can extract from her. It's about how much value you can give to her. And that's an exhausting place to be. Exhausting. You don't want to be there, right? That need to be singularly focused on one girl is the major reason you're not applying the spiritual law that I'm talking about, the law of momentum. See, if we can all agree that abundance and having an abundance mindset is actually useful to you when it comes to getting with women, when it comes to being the kind of guy that is attractive to women and women want and they chase after, and you're the kind of guy that men want to be and women want to be with, then it only makes sense that we should actually create more abundance in our lives dealing with women. The problem is, we think on some level, especially when we're beginning, that we can just start out being the kind of guy that has an abundance mindset, but then we don't need abundance anymore once we get into a serious relationship or something of consequence with a woman. In reality, in reality, that habit right there is what cuts off your abundance. And as a result, cuts off your amazing life that you could be having with amazing women or that one woman that you want. Because again, you can't get the one girlfriend you want if you don't choose her from a place of abundance. And so you have to understand, having that continuous abundance in your life is paramount to keep being attractive to women, which is where the law of momentum comes in, right? Again, same example as before. Talking to one girl that you find very attractive. You know what will genuinely increase your chances of being with that girl, of genuinely having that girl and keeping her around in your life for as long as you want? It's genuinely having abundance, having other women in your life. And the way to apply that on a practical level is very simple. The law of momentum. How do you apply the law of momentum practically in your life? Well, what that looks like is getting a little more greedy, becoming a lot less content with just talking to one girl at a time. I see this mistake happen all the time, and it's the funniest thing, but it's also the most predictable thing. Whenever a guy finds a girl or runs into a girl that he genuinely finds attractive, a girl that he thinks is a 10 out of 10, amazing girl, the kind of opportunity that he believes is only a once in a lifetime type of opportunity, he begins to subconsciously cut off every other option in women that he has just to focus in on this one girl. And that always leads to the exact same result, which is he doesn't get the girl anyway. Because again, what makes you attractive to women is your ability to generate abundance in women, is having other options. So you ironically and counterintuitively increase your chances of getting the girl you want when you have other options in your life, when you're actually trying for other girls. So the key lesson in this video right now, the key lesson here is not to stop once you find a girl you really like and are excited by. That is the biggest mistake you can make, and it puts you in direct opposition to the law of momentum. When you find a girl you like, when you find a girl that you're genuinely attracted to, a girl that you really want in your life, as counterintuitive as it sounds, the next thing you should do right after is get 10 to 20 more phone numbers right after. 10 to 20. You want to keep your phone flooded with options. Flooded with options. That way, and by the way, not just options that are high or even higher quality than the girl you actually want. Because that way, that keeps you mentally and spiritually in check to be able to deal with the girl you actually want the way you want to. I see this all the time. Again, even your approaches will be a lot different in terms of like the results you get and the quality of the woman you can get when you have abundance behind you. When you know that you have other options to fall on, then you're not going to be scared or coming from a place of scarcity whenever you talk to new girls that you genuinely find attractive. Right? The only time that your approaches suck and you're riddled with approach anxiety and you're creepy and you have all this needy, nervous energy whenever you talk to a girl you find attractive is because you know deep down you don't have any other options. See? So if you were to just to keep the options going, generate the options more, then you'll act from a place of having options, which is what abundance looks like. So keep the momentum going. Do not stop. Remain dynamic. Don't just say, oh, I found this girl. She's hot. She's cool. Awesome. No. Keep it going. You got one phone number. Now it's your job to get 9 more. You got 9 phone numbers. Now it's your job to get another 10. Make sure that you allow your options with women to grow exponentially, which is how it's supposed to grow anyway, right? That's usually what happens. I can't even begin to explain to you Why on a spiritual level it happens like that? Like usually you find one girl and then two girls and then five girls and then eight girls and then 16 and then 20. It happens like that. You'll find opportunities to talk to girls, amazing girls, beautiful girls, in the weirdest circumstances and in the weirdest ways possible. Coffee shop, going to pump your gas, online, meeting a friend of a friend. You'll just start having women flood into your life like an avalanche, right? But you can't have that happen if you keep cutting off, right, your ability to invite those women into your life. If you keep telling yourself, oh, I have to focus in on this one, and essentially cut off your other possibilities, you can't have abundance. And when you don't have abundance dealing with that one girl you like, you're more likely to lose her. All right. So apply the law of momentum. And honestly, this is advice for not just, dating in general, but for your life in general. The moment you stop, or the moment you forget, or the moment you tell yourself that this is not the way to go about doing things, you're going to screw yourself over in more ways than you can imagine. The girl you want doesn't want you to be a guy that other girls don't want. Right? So you must apply the law of momentum. You must keep things going. You must become a little more greedy and discontent with the amount of options you have with women. Not just with quantity, but also with quality. Right? Not just the amount of options, but also the quality of those options. The greedier you are in this game, the better in general. I'm telling you. If you want more women in your life, hotter women in your life, you can't be the kind of guy that stops when he finds a comfortable nest egg. That stops when he thinks, oh yeah, this is the best it can get. You must always ask yourself, how much better can it get? Right? That's how you have to apply the law of momentum on a physical level. So the next time you're talking to a girl and you're beginning to feel like you like her, I'm not saying you have to leave her alone. I'm not saying that you have to bounce or whatever. No. Still talk to her, have fun. It's dating. You're supposed to have fun. But remember to continue to generate more options. Because if you fall for the trap of, oh, I like this one, I'm going to chill with this one, you're going to inevitably become less attractive to her, which will kill your chances of getting her anyway. Okay? Now, if you want to create more abundance and learn a lot more in terms of strategy with getting more women in your life, higher quality women that make dating much easier and much more fun, I highly recommend you go through my course, The Interview. Right? The Interview is essentially my A to Z of what it takes to get a girl into your life and incorporate her into your life fully. Right? So from the approach, all the way to the match, if you're meeting her online, all the way to actually setting up the date, running the date, consummating the affair, all that good jazz. Okay, it's all things I know around social dynamics, pickup, and online dating. Okay, link in the bio or in the first comment of this particular video. Go and get The Interview, and I'll see you inside if you decide that it's right for you. All right, it's me, Jason, favorite scientist, with all this information. What you must.